Good morning, guys. It's Automotive Inquiries here. Wanted to do a video because several people, like I said, the Godzilla video has created a lot of conversation, and everybody wants to talk reliability and everything like that. So, one guy said, "You know what? You could take all your Fords and you can keep them because they're the most recalled vehicle, period." And so, I wanted to do a video on. Okay, let's talk turkey. Who is the biggest recalled vehicle in America? And let's put it in perspective, okay? Ford is the number one automaker that has recalls. Within 22, they issued 67 recalls, and 8.6 million vehicles were affected. Now, that's not 8.6 million vehicles that were made in 22 that were affected. These are recalls that they could have issued for vehicles, Lord only knows, 10 years back. There's a lot of vehicles that the campaigns themselves, might be something as simple as a lighting recall, or there's a friction disc in the steering that's making a squeak. That's a recall. None of these are necessarily a catastrophic recall, and people look at them bad. And some of them, some people look, okay, well, it's correcting an issue. Well, with going with more technology and everything in today's vehicles, it'd be really hard to think that there wouldn't be a lot of recalls, and that's why Ford is at the front of pushing over-the-air updates across to their vehicles. So that recall may come across, and your vehicle's going to get that update, and that recall is going to be addressed before they even have to really issue an actual NHTSA type recall. But then you look at, say, Kia, and I think Kia makes a pretty good car, but they had a huge issue with the wiring harnesses for the trailering, and so they recalled most of the Tellurides, and they said don't park these things inside, park them outside because they could just randomly catch fire. So I look at, okay, I got a recall for my Ford or my Chevy, and it says, okay, hey, there might be a light bulb wire that might go out, making you lose a light while you're driving temporarily or intermittently. We're going to correct that. And a lot of these vehicles never even want to experience that. They're so VIN specific when it comes to recalls that it's just really hard to do that. But the gentleman was right, or whoever it was right. The Ford Motor Company does have the most recalls in 2022 again, but that is not year specific. That can go back as long as they need. Second group is Volkswagen Group, which is crazy because Volkswagen doesn't make a lot of cars per year, so they had the second largest recall group. And this is where the nitty gritty. If we want to talk trucks, General Motors and Ram are in the same place. Daimler Trucks North America, 42 recalls, 273,000. And that actually, there was a stop sale on the Cummins diesel with the 68 RFE for quite a while because the heat from the engine was causing heat to heat up the transmission, and then the dipstick was leaking at the base, causing it to spew fluid on there, which would then cause a fire. Almost 250,000 trucks were involved in that recall. They since then have found the fix. It's just going to be a locking a dipstick cap to the dipstick. It's going to latch just like a semi. But again, you're talking trucks that even went back a couple years. So that recall itself was from several years of vehicles, and then now it's just being adjusted. Chrysler themselves, who hardly makes any more vehicles, other than they're involved with the Jeep and stuff, 38 recalls, 3 million vehicles. Forest River made it in the top 5. That's a RV maker. Mercedes-Benz was number 6. General Motors hit number 7. So again, we have the top 3 auto manufacturers in the United States in this group, and they had 32 recalls affecting 3 million vehicles. Kia number 8, 24 recalls, 1.4 million. You can always access all this information on the NHTSA website. Navstar, which is medium-duty trucks like semis and whatnot, smaller semis. Honda Motors of America, another super popular brand right now, 22 recalls, 1.4 million. And again, you look at some of these, they'll even tell you the most recalled category for Chevy or GM was exterior lighting. For the Chrysler trucks, we're talking electrical system and structural issues, and Ford, the powertrain, which the powertrain really encompasses more than just the motor and transmission anymore. Tesla made it in the top 12, and BMW. So, some of these are really allegedly high-end vehicles. They have just as many recalls. And again, you look at Ford last year produced almost 4 million vehicles. Chevy did about half that at 2.2 million vehicles. and I say Chevy, I mean GM. Then you come in with Chrysler making, and that's Chrysler Group Stellantis, everybody making 1.8 million. So I mean, Ford really does double or triple the amount of vehicles out there. So you can kind of see that there is a demand. Ford has a popular group, and Ford does do a lot more fleet type stuff than everywhere else. But at the end of the day, I would say there's actually no real correlation between the amount of recalls and the actual reliability of a vehicle. I mean, there's nothing across the board. So yes, unfortunately, recalls are a pain in the rump. However, there's no direct correlation saying that if you have a vehicle that's been recalled 75 times, it's any less reliable. Yes, you're probably going to spend some time at the shop. But my 16 Ram had a front end issue that I investigated myself. According to had a recall, I found out that it did not by doing the investigation. It did have the water pump issue, which could cause fire. However, I worked that truck really hard, and I never had an issue with overheating or anything like that. And I didn't want it to take it into Chrysler and have a tech tear the engine apart. So that recall is still active on my truck. I found another recall that had to do with some of the tech inside the vehicle. I was able to reach out to Chrysler Stellantis and actually get the micro SD to do the upgrade myself at my house. So again, some of these recalls are super simple and really don't have a lot to do with anything to do with safety. And if it was a safety issue, those vehicles would be recalled immediately, stop sales, adrift, stuff like that, if it involves life or death. So when somebody says, well, you can keep your recalled vehicles, I don't know any car that has never suffered no recalls. One of the most dependable automakers in the world is Toyota. And a few years ago, no, this is a while back now, but I remember when they had the accelerator issue that was causing people to lose control and everything like that, and people wigged out. Well, it was a simple fix. The ratio of actual accidents and stuff where people were in trouble with their life were low, but I mean, everybody is susceptible to that, and you can get a bad run of parts. A lot of manufacturers don't make all their own engine parts or components. They're getting pieces from here, pieces from there, and one little scorch mark on a mold can change the viability of a cam or something like that, or even a piston or something like that. So I think it's more about just being open and understanding what recalls really are, and that they don't necessarily affect your vehicle's reliability or make a vehicle any less valuable or good. I think it's just something where the manufacturers go out there and try and improve on that before it becomes a costly problem for them. And so hopefully that helps, guys. Drive safe out there. We'll see you on the next video.